So, as I promised you guys, within the next week now, or week or two, now this video is going to be a little bit different. I haven't made one of these on my channel yet. Um, it's going to be about football. Now, obviously, some of you guys don't know I am a football nut. Played like Little League football growing up. Wanted to play into high school, but kind of messed with the golf scheduling. And you guys know I golfed a lot, and I was trying to make some mini tours and stuff. As in some of my videos I mentioned, and I was trying to get sponsored, but that career didn't last long, and as in the last video, I can't play golf anymore. Regularly, anyways. But with all that being said, I grew up in Florida, and it was either humans, Buccaneers. I hate humans. Most of you don't know this. Humans are despicable or despisable to me. Most are, anyways. Or animals. I had to pick a team. Jaguars. Even at 8 years old, I didn't like people. Which is kind of, weirdly enough, why I like creating content. Because, yes, it's for people. I've started to grow a little bit of fondness as I got older with people and just people watching. Seeing the different kinds of people kind of roaming around and all that stuff. You know, it's kind of interesting. It's entertaining seeing the different kinds of people that go into stores and stuff. But I am a fanatic for football. I do fantasy. I do dynasty leagues in fantasy. I do normal fantasy. I do all that sorts of things. But I digress. This video today, we're talking about football. And mostly about the Jaguars. So if you're a Jaguars fan, welcome. I hope I hope I'll be attracting a lot of Jaguars fans. But I notice most of my audience doesn't last past like 2 minutes. So if you're here to this point, we're going to get right into it. So the Jaguars have been getting a lot of flack from a lot of national media. A lot of football YouTubers really haven't been covering the Jags either. So, except the Jaguars podcasters, which I love T-Wig. You know, I watch Jin Jag. I watch a few others. And they're really the only ones that cover anything on YouTube about the Jags for the most part. I mean, you get the random, you know, oh, the Jaguars are going to be better than the NFL thinks type videos. This isn't like that. Exactly. But I did watch a video that did touch on it briefly. And I'm going to mention something in that video. Now, I don't know if I can find that video, but this YouTuber released it a few days ago. And I think the title of the video was the Jacksonville Jaguars are better than the NFL thinks. In that video, he mentioned 10 of our losses last year. Now, last year, the Jags went 4-13. However, 10 of our losses came within a one-possession game. And that is true. But he said we were trailing most of those games, which is actually not true. We were leading most of those games until the defense sucked. Now, what I will say, I've been a diehard Jags fan for as long as I can remember. Never really admitted it to people until 2012, but also I really wasn't around a lot of people that like sports, so I never really had a chance to talk about it, or really liked football, I should say. I was around people that like golf, never really around people that like football. So we were leading at least 6 of those 10 one-score losses by 1 to 2 touchdowns. most of those games. The problem was never the players. Let me put it to you that way. Yes, there was quit in the locker room. Yes, there was a lot of stuff being said around, nobody really wanting to show up, nobody wanting to do their job. Cool, great, whatever. You're a professional athlete. You should be better than that. You should be. As a former semi-professional athlete myself, there is no quit. You don't quit just because it's hard or there's a toxic environment. You shouldn't just quit. Now, I get it. There's tensions. The leader in the locker room isn't, aka the coaches, aren't what they're supposed to be. Cool. We get it. But you're being paid millions of dollars to be putting your best foot out there, but they weren't. Because it was the leadership in the locker room was failing them, aka the coaches. And it starts at the top. It starts with Shad Khan. Now, he finally made the proper necessary improvements, starting with the front office. Now, unfortunately, we had to wait longer for Trent Baalke to get fired. Majority of Jags fans know. Now, majority of you might know me as Jack Ravage on Facebook. If you're coming, I never post as myself on Facebook, because most of my takes end up getting me reported and my profiles taken down, because I usually don't like our AFC South rivals. And majority of them come at the Jags fan base. And mind you, the Jags fan base has been ruled as the best fan base, as like the nicest fan base. No reason to come at us. I get it. It's a rivalry. It happens. But you threaten to hurt one of our fans? Yeah, I'm going to find your IP address and I'm going to come attack you. Or I'm going to threaten that anyways. But yeah, no. So a lot of my accounts have been taken down because of it. So now I have a fake one that I can just get away with and just do whatever. But here's the thing. It starts with the front office. The changes that were finally made will instantly make the team better. Our players, for the most part, now we haven't had a lot of good depth. And our biggest problem, I will say, secondary on defense. It's our biggest weakness. And inconsistent quarterback play. I'm a Trevor truther. I'm a diehard Trevor Lawrence fan. But I will say he is fairly inconsistent. He had a horrible line that the previous regime did not care about protecting Trevor. So you can't half the time blame those throws on Trevor, because for most of his career, number one, he's gone through so many coaching changes, so many new playbook changes. Press Taylor was god-awful. And that's the reason why Doug Peterson got fired from Philly the year they won the year after they won the Super Bowl. And here's the thing. He was a fluke of a head coach. Because, yes, he won the Super Bowl. That was the one good year he had in Philadelphia. One good year. And it was a fluke. He got lucky. And sometimes that's all it takes to win the Super Bowl. I get it. All you need is a luck of a run in the playoffs, and you're there at the big game. And it was with the backup QB, who ended up playing for the Jags for a little bit. But nonetheless, something that people need to understand is it was the organization from the top down. The GM was awful. Nobody wanted to make trades with him. Nobody. They only wanted to move up to where the Jags were. Because people knew that we were going to suck. As long as Trent Baalke was our GM and Doug Peterson was our head coach, we were going to suck or be mid. That's facts. Doug Peterson had 2 or 3 winning seasons in his entire coaching history. That's not a good coach. He's been a head coach for over 7 years. That's not a good stat to have. Oh, he won a Super Bowl. Cool. No one gives a shit. No one does. And that's what people need to understand. People need to understand that organizations like the Bills, Chiefs, as much as I hate the Chiefs, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is a good player because I don't base good players based on their actual play. I do it based on their personality. Patrick Mahomes has a horrible personality. First of all, he should have disowned his family for the shit his wife did. Completely disrespectful for the shit his family did. Completely disrespectful. Therefore, he's moat. He's never going to be in my list of top 1,000 quarterbacks ever. He's a horrible human being. Same with Travis Kelce. I used to love Travis Kelce. He used to be my man. Then he started dating Taylor Swift, who is also a horrible human being. But that being said, and he became a diva ever since he started dating her. And it's just like, okay, dude, like, you gave up on football. It clearly shows in your play. You drop passes you never dropped before. You're becoming a diva in the locker room. It's all over the news. It's all over press during the season. It shows up on the field week in, week out. You're not reliable anymore, dude. Give it up. Retire. It's about time anyways. But I digress. Like, organization, Andy Reid is a hell of a coach, though. So, again, it starts from the top down. Like, GM, got to have a good GM. James Gladstone, as young as he is, I will say this. I was an interim head pro at 23. 23 years old, I was an interim head pro. That's young as hell for a golf pro. But I had the experience. I had the ability. And I had the teaching experience. So, like, all that takes into account. I mean, if you hear his story about how he came up, it's remarkable. But he's been with the Rams. When he was with the Rams when they won a Super Bowl. And he was the GM's right-hand man with the Rams. Like, literally by his side, making the decisions for the GM, basically, the last 2 years he was with them. That's important. That's crucial information people are leaving out in the national media. I mean, we're the laughingstock. Why? Because we had a horrible run organization. They didn't care about protecting the QB. They didn't care about physical talent level. They didn't care about any of that stuff. They only cared about potential. Well, what's potential if you don't have a good coaching staff? Nothing. And it proves out on the field week in and week out from the previous regimes that we've had. Nothing. Because we didn't have a good coaching staff. We didn't have a good GM. We weren't able to make the picks that were necessary to improve the team. We didn't have good morale either. The front office was a joke. James Gladstone comes in and immediately removes the 2 toxic cancers that we had in the front office. People need to understand that this Jacksonville team is completely different. Like, we had the players. Like, we win half of those games, we're 9-8. With Mac Jones at quarterback for half the season. Okay? Half of those games. And we're 9-8 with Mac Jones. That's impressive as fuck. Especially considering who Mac Jones is. A bust. Which, you know, you can't really label him a bust. He didn't really have much help. Because you had old Belichick. He was basically checked out when Mac Jones came in. And then you have him thrown in with Doug Peterson and the trash organization that we were last year. Kind of doesn't help. But he did have decent stats. I mean, a lot of interceptions. But decent stats. And he helped get BTJ 1,000 yards. Well, over that. And 10 touchdowns. You also have to understand Ryan Nielsen. I don't know how he had that good of a defense in Atlanta. Their depth at D-line just must have been that good. Because you can't have them rotating. You can't have the defensive line rotating out like a damn hockey team. That's not how it works. Our best pass rushers were out of the game on 3rd and long situations. So, yeah, we're never going to get sacks. We're never going to pressure. We're always going to have the defense on the field. Why? Because they can just drain the clock that way. You rotate out your line, your D-line, you're screwed. You have the best players on the field at all times until they need a break. And then you throw in your second best player at those positions. That's how it is. I mean, now we got a unicorn like Travis Hunter. Now, some might say I'm delusional. He was the best wide receiver prospect coming out of the draft and the best corner prospect coming out of the draft. And he can play 2 positions in one game. Cool. People say I don't know talent. I've had a lot of people come at me in comments on Facebook saying that. Just in random, like, fantasy discussions. Because people are putting Neighbors ahead of BTJ. That's insane. That's insane. He had a worse year than BTJ did last year. With a consistent quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback wasn't a good quarterback. But he had the same quarterback week in, week out. And he puts up those numbers. Neighbors isn't as good as people were saying he was. And we got lucky because Trent Baalke actually admitted that he didn't want to get BTJ. But Calvin Ridley decided to go to Tennessee. So we got him. Because he happened to fall to where we traded back to. We got lucky with that pick. With Baalke. He never would have drafted him. And we'd be stuck with wide receivers like Gabe Davis, who is a product of Stephon Diggs with Josh Allen. That's all he's ever been. People are just like, oh, but Gabe Davis is a real threat. No, he wasn't. He was the 3rd option in the Buffalo Bills offense. And we paid him like he's going to be wide receiver 1 or 2. Like, that's insane. Like you don't pay that much to a washed up wide receiver who only got cornerback 3s on him or cornerback 4 like nickelbacks on him that like aren't even really that good. So Liam Cohen, Grant Udinski, Anthony Campanile, James Gladstone, that whole front office there, GM, head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, this team with these players right now, with our players losing weight, we're looking at contending for the division. Now, I know there's going to be Texans fans coming to watch this video. You can come at me all you want by saying this is a complete trash take. CJ Stroud's still has no O-line. What are you going to do when Eric Armstead's finally playing his correct position, defensive tackle? Josh Hines-Allen is finally playing the whole game. Trayvon Walker, who got snubbed on Madden. Chad Johnson is just delusional in his fucking rankings on Madden. Like, BTJ should at least be a 90. Freaking, I will admit, Travis Hunter got a good one. Got it. They got him right. I think 84 is right for Madden rankings. Trayvon Walker should have at least been an 80, if not 85. Dude had 10.5 sacks last year. Again. 2 years in a row now. Again. And he's one of the best run-stop defenders in the entire league, even according to PFF grades. Which, Pro Football Focus is just a joke of an organization at this point. Let's be honest. They don't know ball. They're not even run by a professional athlete. And here's the sad part. EA has a professional athlete doing the ratings, or at least a former professional athlete, and he still can't get it right. He's still delusional beyond delusional. It must be all the CTE that the stupid media is talking about. Let's get football back to Weapon X days. But anyways, that's real football, not this pansy shit they got going on, especially with the Mahomes shit. Someone needs to rock his world and put him on a stretcher. It's the only way to get... And I really hope the Jags do it on Monday Night Football. I generally don't wish for people to get hurt, but Mahomes is one of those people I'm 100% on board with because he needs to be taught a lesson. Brady got lit the fuck up. And I don't like Brady because he cheated. But Brady used to get lit the fuck up and he'd get right back up. He could take hits. And he played for 20-something years. Won 6 Super Bowls. Getting lit up back in the day when football was really football. I mean, and Mahomes gets tapped. And he flops like LeBron James always does. Always did. Always has, and always will do. Like, Mahomes flops and cries like a baby to the ref until he finally gets a call. Like, whatever. But, no, it's like, okay. Back to the Jags. Like, our defense dropped weight. They're finally back to being healthy. They're finally back to being vitalized into what they really should be. They're finally back to being good. Right? They're finally back to what they should be. This team is looking at 10 because of their schedule. Now, Chiefs, that AFC West division is going to be a little difficult for us to get through. I'm not going to lie. Especially with Ashton Genty playing with the Raiders. My stepdad is a Raiders fan. He was excited about that pick. But I don't think Travis Hunter can play 100% like he wants to both sides. Now, that's not to say that he's not going to try and do it. I do think the NFL, he gets hit a few times and he's going to wake up to being like, okay, I need to do packages on both sides. Or I need to concentrate 100% of the time on a specific side and then do packages on the other. That's the way I think eventually it's going to go. Now, because he's a little small, like smaller frame size, but dude's a unicorn. If anybody can get it done, it'll only be him. It really will. So, yeah, he's a ball hawk. Dude's got hands like no other. He doesn't even wear gloves during training camp. Now, that being said, as I'm making this video, people are showing up to the stadium. I'm in New York right now, but people are showing up to the stadium waiting to get in to view the, like, scrimmage game they got going on today. But people need to realize this Jacksonville team is going to be a real threat to the NFL. Because how are you going to guard Diami Brown, BTJ, and Travis Hunter on offense with the occasional Parker Washington, who, if you watch his highlights during training camp, I did not expect him to show up like he's showing up. And then you got Joshua Cephas, who I think is a guaranteed match to make wide receiver 5 now. I mean, dude's got like 4.3 speed. We're 100% speed offense. And then you got freaking Bashal Tootin, fast as hell. Tank Bigsby, fast and hard runner. And ETN, who's mostly probably only going to be a passing back at this point, because he's on his way out because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. I mean, with Brenton Strange as a tight end, and Hunter Long possibly as tight end too, I mean, that's a threat to be reckoned with. And then on defense, Foye, Devin Lloyd, you got Trayvon, you got Josh Hines Allen, which I respect the name change. And prayers up to his family and his kid. That's hard to hear, but I'm glad things are getting better for him and his family. You got Eric Armstead, Mason Smith. You got all these guys. Now, here's the thing. Our secondary might be of a bit of a problem. Because Eric Murray, he's gonna be our weak point. They're gonna target him a lot as a safety. Now, he's a good zone corner. I will give him credit for that. He's a good zone corner, but I don't think we're going to be playing a lot of zone, especially if Travis Hunter mainly plays defense. Because then you got Tyson Campbell, Jerrion Jones, Jordan Lewis, best nickel or slot in the entire league. Come at me. I dare you. We got decent corners now, but no depth is our problem. I think right now what James Gladstone is doing is he's getting the starting core worked out. If we can get our starting core worked out over these next 2 years, now, mind you, I don't think it's going to be an immediate success overnight. I think this is going to be one of those times where it's going to take 2 to 3 to 4 years to build into the contender like the Buffalo Bills, like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Baltimore Ravens. I do think it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. But I think with this regime, we have to trust in them. Now, I do think we have a chance with our little bit weaker of a schedule because we placed third place last year, only next to the Titans, that we have a chance to win possibly 10 games. With that could be a toss-up for the division because we have generally a weaker division. With a team with a rookie quarterback, no quarterback, and C.J. Stroud, who has not been consistent through his 2 years. He was great his rookie year. I will give him credit for that. He was great. Tremendous his rookie year. Then last year he fell off. He had a horrible O-line. Still has a horrible O-line. I'm expecting a very similar year to last year, if not worse. Probably worse. Because he's not going to have trust in his O-line, just like Trevor didn't have trust in his O-line. So he starts to be inconsistent. He's going to start to overthrow, underthrow, late throw, early throw. He's going to start to make stupid decisions just like Trevor has. And people are going to immediately label him as a bust. And it's really sad that the national media immediately jumps on these people. What happened to the olden times where you drafted a young QB to study a year or two under someone like Brett Favre, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, having a successor? Kind of like what the Green Bay Packers did with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Jordan Love is not a remarkable QB, but he's a great one. He's borderline good to great, depending on the season, I think. I feel like that's a fair assessment. He's not elite. He's not like Josh Allen. He's not like Lamar Jackson. He's not like Jaden Daniels. Now, I know people are going to call me crazy for saying this, but I feel like Jaden Daniels is a better version of Lamar Jackson because he's got the run ability, but he's got a better passing ability. Now, Lamar has proved me wrong. Dude's a hell of a passer too, but he doesn't have great wide receivers. He's got good wide receivers, not great ones. You give Lamar Jackson someone like Mike Evans and possibly even DK Metcalf to throw along with him, dude's going to light up the scoreboard. The Ravens will be the real Super Bowl favorites at that point. But the problem is they spend so much money in the defense, Baltimore does, that they're never going to have those great wide receivers or elite wide receivers. But that's okay. Because Lamar's problem is he chokes in the big moments. I hate to say it, but he does. He basically puts a team on his back and he can't get it done because his receivers drop passes or something happens, But that's not fully on him. That's also on the other players too. Football is a team sport. Lately, the national media is making it out like a single player makes a team. And while it's true, a single great player or elite player can help a team elevate, it's not everything. Teams need an all-around great players surrounding the entire team to be a contender. You can have a good player sprinkled in here or there, but you need mostly great to elite players on the team at once to be a contender. That's the problem with Jacksonville. They haven't had a coaching staff to make the players or put the players in the best positions possible for them. With this regime, I think we have a chance. I think if the Jaguars are able to go 4-2 in the division or 5-1 in the division, split it with Houston, because Houston really is going to be a hard team to beat. As much flack as I give them, and they're not even the Jags' true rivals. It's Tennessee. But anyways, I think if we at least split with Houston and win every other game in the division, we have a good chance of going on to win the division. But I think the most important thing is to keep the streak rolling at home against the Colts. I think that's the number one most important thing. And also not losing to the Panthers, because every time we lost to the Panthers in the home opener, the Panthers made the Super Bowl that year. But I think our entire season hinges on how we play in the opening game. I think if we start off 1-0, I think there's a good chance we can win 8 to 10 games this year. If we start off 0-1, I think we're probably going to win 5 to 8. But either way, it's progress. And honestly, I think that's just what the coaching staff is looking for. And that's what we as fans need to be looking for. We shouldn't be looking at the team to get immediately double our wins or triple our wins. If we triple our wins, I'd be stoked every fucking week. Like, we go 12-5. That's 5 weeks I'm pissed off for the rest of the week. That's not bad. And then 12 weeks I'm happy as shit, giggling, doing whatever. I'll take that. But here's the thing. As a Jags fan, we're used to ups, down. We're used to the roller coaster highs and lows. What we need is a steady ebb and flow. We need this. Like, we need steadiness. If we can steadily, slowly start building a winning team, something that fans can be proud of, especially with this new stadium coming in, and we're going to be in Jacksonville for the next following years, that'd be amazing. And you guys need to bring the Super Bowl to Jacksonville at some point. Like, not even necessarily the Jacksonville Jaguars making the Super Bowl. I mean, bringing the Super Bowl to the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium of the future, anyways. Like, Jacksonville needs to put in a bid to host the Super Bowl at some point. I would buy the tickets to go to it even if the Jaguars aren't in it. Because I want to see... Because I was at the game that we came back in the playoffs. That was my first home game I ever went to as a Jags fan. Because I grew up in the Tampa Bay area. So it was either Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Jaguars. And again, as a child, I liked animals more than humans. I still like animals more than humans. And you aren't normal if you like humans more than animals. You aren't normal. You aren't. Humans aren't trustworthy. Animals are. Animals are loyal, especially dogs and cats. Dogs and cat owners can back me up on this. They're loyal to a fault. And that's why we'll always protect them. Like they're family. They're our family. They're not pets to us. They're family to us. You hurt them, we hurt you. Fuck around, find out. Simple as that. But anyways, like, yeah. Anyways, that was a video, guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about football, a little bit about the Jaguars. Sorry I went on a few rants. I went on a tirade for a little bit, but ended up getting back on track. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, leave a like. Huge help. Subscribe. The more subscribers I get from this video, the more likely I probably will to do more football video, more football talk. And I know a lot about football in general, so I can talk about pretty much any team you guys want. You know, you guys let me know teams. I've been doing a lot of study film for my fantasy football leagues, especially my dynasty leagues. Man, I study film year round on players because I want to make sure. I don't like college football, so don't ask me about college football. I am an Auburn fan, though. I'm sorry to any of you Alabama fans, Georgia fans. It's just where I went to college in Alabama. That was all that they were playing. So that's why I'm an Auburn fan. But I don't really care, neither here nor there. I think it's a whacked out joke. Because unless an SEC team is playing an SEC team, there's no defense ever being played. So I hate it. I love defensive games. It's why I like the old NFL a lot more than I like this shit show that Roger Goodell made. But I miss the days when you can hit the hell out of players. Like Brian Dawkins, Lawrence Taylor, you know, all the guys that hit like a freaking freight train, Ray Lewis, you know, I miss those days. Who gives a shit about CTE? Antonio Brown's doing this stuff because it's his decisions. It's not because of CTE. Anyways, before I go off on another tirade, I'm going to end the video here. Hope you guys have a good day.